All right,
great.
we are here today with Pablo Ruiz. I met Pablo at a conference where he was explaining about the cryptocurrency evolution and about PayPro, his company. And I can honestly say, after being 2 hours there with a room packed with about 50 interested investors, when I left the conference, not only was I very interested in PayPro, but I talked to several of the other attendees and they were all very interested. And I think this has to do with the fact that PayPro, different from the other ICOs that we see, actually is a company with founders that have experience, that have worked on the company for over 2 years, and that have already received investment from angel investors as well as from Telefonica, from Wira. So I'm very happy to welcome today Pablo Ruiz. So Pablo, welcome.
Thank you very much, Ekis. My great pleasure. Thank you very much for your time.
Great. So Pablo, to start, I'd like to ask you to introduce in 1 or 2 minutes to the viewers, what is PayPro?
So PayPro is a decentralized financial marketplace that allows any financial decentralized application to offer its services to our community.
Okay, good. Nice summary. So I know that PayPro is not just an idea, it actually exists. You have been working with your co-founders on PayPro for more than 2 years. So can you tell me PayPro and your background before you came up with PayPro?
Great. So we started with Gabriel, who is my business partner, his co-founder with me on PayPro. We started to talk about making something in fintech, let's put it like this, almost 4 years ago, perhaps a little bit less, but it was almost 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. And the goal we had in our mind was to create a technology bank. And we all know that banks, they all have legacy systems. Their technological infrastructure is very weak. I think that diminishes the user experience. So we thought that improving banking through technology was something that at least there was a need. And using technology was definitely the key to unlock that need. So the thing is that by then, Ethereum didn't exist as it exists right now. Or let's better say that there wasn't a platform that allowed to create applications on blockchain. Bitcoin was, starting to explode. And in a nutshell, what I would say is that technology wasn't at the point where it is right now. Neither it was our expertise, even though Gabriel came for banking. He has a 10 years long career in banking. And also our financial resources wasn't as strong as we needed. So that's why we decided, instead of starting by creating a bank, we decided to create a payment tool that allowed self-employed people and small businesses to make payments in 25 currencies, saving up to 90% on hidden bank fees. So it was a model that already existed. The first step for us in order to get into the banking industry. So
more than so was PayPro something similar to TransferWise?
Yeah, yes, it was very similar to TransferWise, but we were addressing a different market segment by then that they were not addressing. They are addressing it right nowadays, but not by then. So more than a market opportunity, it was a strategic opportunity for us, I would say, because that enabled PayPro and Gabriel and I to make our first step into our banking incursion. Let's put it like this, and it was quite successful. I mean, for being a less than 1 year old fintech, a payment fintech, we were dealing with 500,000 euros per month, which was a good milestone. We were regulated by the Financial Conduct Authority as a payment institution. We had more than 100 companies working with us. and we closed 2 funding rounds. And the last one, actually, Telefonica, the telecom company, invested on PayPro. So everything was going quite good. But it was at the beginning of this year that we saw that we had to evolve for a number of reasons. It was a moment for us to evolve and to start thinking about making this bank that we had in our mind, a few years ago. And this is why we started to think about all of this. And the thing that happened was that I have been always a very I've been always very enthusiastic about blockchain. I was already an early investor back in 2012, not only in Bitcoin but in Ripple and many solutions and Ethereum. Actually, Ethereum for me was the breakthrough, because Bitcoin in my mind was a very good solution to payment networks and banking systems, actually. But Ethereum showed us that blockchain goes beyond Bitcoin, goes beyond the banking industry. Ethereum is capable of disrupting any industry by allowing anyone to build blockchain-based applications for any industry. So we started to dig into that, and what we saw was that actually in banking, though, many applications are using Ethereum as a way to offer traditional banking services, but with all the advantages of blockchain. So that gave us to think, because at the end, from our perspective, a bank consists of 2 elements. 1, a portfolio of services, and 2, customers and their money. So we thought, if we could put, an application, in this case, a decentralized application, where anyone can join and offer their services from another decentralized application, we have the first element. We have this portfolio of services that we are not offering. And on the other hand, we just need a wallet where anyone can store any popular cryptocurrency and any token ERC20. So that was it. I mean, 2 things together, we would have what we've been looking for, but in a decentralized way.
I'm sorry. So now you're already getting into the business model, into the product, into the solution you're offering.
Yeah.
So if I understand correctly, you've been working almost 4 years, thinking and working on PayPro. At first, it was more a payment solution, and now it has evolved. In the beginning of the year, you went fully into the blockchain, and it has evolved into, if I understand correctly, a wallet plus a marketplace?
Sure. Yeah.
Okay. All right. We already know that you and Gabriel are the 2 main co-founders. Is there any other co-founder on the technical side, maybe?
Yes, definitely. So we have our CTO, Enrique. Enrique has been always, he's been working with PayPro for the last, I would say, yes, almost 2 years now. And he's also very much into blockchain. I mean, he started to work on blockchain in PayPro almost a year ago, but he's been working in blockchain-based projects for now almost 2 years, I would say.
Okay.
And yes, he has a career of more than 10 years in development. He's a full stack developer, and he takes over all of the tech strategy of the company.
All right. So if we could summarize, the 3 main co-founders all have significant work experience in the area, all have at least 2 years experience in the area of blockchain. So it's quite different, I would say, from 90% of the ICOs that I see, which unfortunately, according to what I see, are started many times by very young people without much work experience or experience in the blockchain. But that's not your case. You actually have been working on PayPro itself together for more than 2 years.
Yes, definitely. And we all cover different areas of expertise. I think that's what makes our team great. It's a multidisciplinary team, and for any project to success. I mean, those I see as well is that most of the team are developers. And that's great when you have to develop a tool, of course, but when you want to make a company successful, you have to cover many fields. In our case, for instance, our company is 50% technological and 50% financial. So that's why we don't only need the CFO. We also need we don't only need the CTO. We also need the CFO, and the roles are very interconnected. So that's very important. And I don't have technical experience, for instance, even though I can handle, of course, a conversation with my CTO. That's not what I do. I'm more into strategy and the vision of the company. So in my opinion, it's always very important to have an experience and multidisciplinary team.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm impressed by the team. So before you mentioned that a little bit about the product. So as I understood, you got a wallet and you got a kind of marketplace offering different kinds of financial services to clients, to customers. Mm-hmm. So can you talk a bit more about the problem in the market and how does PayPro help to solve this problem?
Sure. I think that's the key, of course. So the problem that we identified was that traditional banks, the problem was that they gather all the information. So when it comes to any kind of negotiation, negotiating not only in banking, but in any aspect of your lives, at the end, always who holds the information is going to be the one who wins on the negotiation. There's not going to be an equilibrium. And this happens on banking. I think that a very good example of that is the subprime crisis. Banks were selling all of their toxic assets without saying. They knew they were toxic and they were saying anything, and clients were buying because they were recommended to do so. I think that's the most dramatic example of how the bargaining power is not on the market side right now, but on the industry side. So what we've been seeing on FinTech 1.0, as I call it, is that banks still think on centralization, even though some of them are building applications using blockchain. Still, they believe on centralization because at the end, they are the ones who build the products, the portfolios of products and services that they offer to the public, to their clients. Mm-hmm. And when you do this, it is naturally, it is something natural that the products and services that you're going to be offering are going to be, giving some benefits to you. It's not going to be an equilibrated relationship because you are the one who are building those products and you are the one recommending those products. So the client is going to buy almost anything you say. So the thing is that because we don't think that's good, we believe that decentralization, not at the technical level, but management level, is also important. And this is how we want to give back the bargaining power to the market by decentralization. So here is the problem and here is the solution. Centralization against decentralization.
Okay.
This will happen in almost every
industry. I actually worked for some time, more than 10 years ago, as a financial advisor. And I was an independent financial advisor, which means I was getting a commission, yes, from financial products that I was recommending to my clients. Mm-hmm. But I would be able to distribute all kinds of products, almost all kinds of products, and I would be getting similar kinds of commissions on any product, so that I would have similar incentives to sell a product. Now, I think you might be going one step beyond, in the sense that you're not only making it independent, meaning you're offering all the products, but you also want to actually have, like, as I understand, decentralized recommendations, so that there's not really an advisor, it's not really you who's recommending, but it's the users that recommend, or how does it work?
So there are many drivers here for my answer, and most of them have to do with the product itself, that perhaps you want to talk about them later on. But I would say that if you want to look for advice within our marketplace, you would go through the community. we're building a rating system that not only ensures that products and services meet the market expectations, so basically that they're not scam, but they also can recommend you. We can use lookalike tools and make recommendations following your let's say financial taste, and and people, users like you. And all of this is done through a rating system. So it's basically, if you look for an advisor, the direct answer would be the community would be your advisor.
Okay,
no one
so the people that rate, that and thereby recommend, they don't have any incentives. They don't get paid a commission. So that's why, it's just going to be totally independent and just going to be based on what they really think and not what makes them the most money, right?
Yes, that's it. That's the key.
Okay. All right. So now if I understand correctly, from the advice, you don't get the money. So what is the business model that PayPro has?
So having a business model on a decentralized application where decentralization goes beyond the technological development and goes to the management of the marketplace is against real decentralization.
Right. Okay.
So we don't have any business model here.
Okay.
PayPro's mission, or PayPro's goal, PayPro's mission is just to promote the marketplace. We just have to promote the community to use the marketplace, and that's our only goal. Of course, promoting the marketplace includes developing the first versions of the marketplace, but at some point we won't even do that. The community has to do that. That's why we have a rewarding system, a rewarding program for encourage developers to promote our marketplace. To develop our marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
But there is no business model. Otherwise, we would be it would be very dangerous for the community. So let's say, for instance, we were saying that we have a marketplace where any decentralized application can join the marketplace. If we manage the marketplace because we had any kind of interest over the marketplace, which ultimately would be the only way to monetize the marketplace, there would not be any guarantee for the community for us trying to corrupt the system, because we could be saying to other decentralized applications, look, if you want to join, you have to pay me. And if you pay me, first of all, this cost at the end of the day is going to be paid by the community. So this is against the community. And if I have any kind of filtering system, you don't know what applications I might be putting onto the marketplace. So that would be against the community. This is why we cannot have any direct interest. This is why for us, owning tokens is so important, because we need to keep funding the company in order to keep promoting the marketplace still at the beginning.
Oh, okay. Interesting. Because basically what I have seen in ICOs is that the founders that are doing an ICO, they have an operational company and they get tokens. And their incentive is usually to make the company as successful as possible, and maybe also to make the tokens or the currency go up, because they get tokens and they're founders, they're shareholders of the company. So the founders can benefit in two ways. If the company is very successful, they hold a share of the company, so they make financial gains with that. And second, if the company is successful, probably also the token would be successful, and they can also gain with the token. If I understand correctly, your interest is totally on making the token successful, because in the company, is not going to make that much money in the model that you have, because everything is decentralized. So it's just about having the token being used, and if the token is being used, that would also provide the financial gains and the financial revenue, so to say, to be able to reinvest in the project. Is that correct?
Yes, that's right. So the company makes no money. Mm-hmm. So we don't make, as founders or shareholders of the company, we don't receive any dividends from the operations of the company. So the only way that the company can keep promoting the marketplace is via selling tokens through this ICO or afterwards.
Okay.
And that's it. So the capacity of the company to keep financing the marketplace would depend indeed on the price of the token. So this is why we have to ensure that the marketplace goes always up in terms of everything. So the token goes up and we can keep financing the company. So I would say that as a shareholder of the company and a CEO of the company, I only have two economic interests on PayPro. One could be my salary, of course, and two is, of course, the tokens that I will receive the day of tomorrow might be worth something. So it is on my side to decide whether I want to monetize those tokens or not.
I actually think that's good for the investors, because as an investor, what I kind of don't want is that the company is very successful, but the token is not successful, and that of course can happen. In your scenario of PayPro, you're saying, well, the company is not going to be very successful because the company itself doesn't make much money. So we have to make the token successful, and of course, the investors in the ICO, they're investing in the token. So the interest is aligned.
Yes, definitely. We are all on the same side.
Okay.
I mean, this is also a way to guarantee that decentralization happens, at all levels.
So what is the current situation of PayPro? So you are building, I understand you already have a first version of the product, at least of the wallet, and you are building the marketplace, or what is the situation there?
So we're currently building the wallet. The wallet plays a very key, important role, not only in the strategy of PayPro, but I think for all the blockchain. The thing is that we're building a wallet that currently can only hold Bitcoins, but the day of tomorrow will be allowed to hold most popular cryptocurrencies and all ERC20 tokens. And this is very important because this provides us with two things. First, on the one hand, from a strategic point of view, by offering this wallet to the community, we will offer a solution that still doesn't exist. We find many investors, people on the blockchain community, that they already hold multiple tokens, multiple coins, and so on. And the only way they have in order to store all that value into the same place is just, they cannot do that. The tools that are out there in the market are still very technical. They're not ready for the mass market. They're very difficult to use. The user experience is the worst. So we're going to be using a tool capable of doing that for the mass market with no marketplace involved. So our strategy here is to offer a solution to a need that already exists, so we can, make users join our, to join PayPro. And by doing this, whenever we have ready the marketplace, what will happen, by the way, we think by summer of 2018, we will be in a position where we can go to any decentralized applications and say, look, you join our marketplace, we already have this number of users that are using the application because they already find value. So for us, making first the wallet not only responds to technical reasons, but also to commercial reasons. I think that's the thing. And on the other hand, even if we don't think on the marketplace, having the wallet is very important, because our vision on blockchain is that our community, our ecosystem is going to be entirely tokenized. Everything we see, everything we hold in our life is going to be tokenized, ranging from our national ID or our passport to the property of our house. I think all of this is going to be represented by tokens, thanks mainly to smart contracts. And so we need somewhere to store all that value. So the PayPro wallet is going to meet this need that still doesn't exist, but definitely now the trend is going directly towards that point,
Okay, so you see a need for the wallet that you're building independent of the marketplace, and you think that already with the wallet you can get a critical mass of users. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. But let me elaborate on your first point. It is true that the wallet at the beginning is going to be meeting a need that already exists, and it's totally independent from the marketplace. The marketplace cannot exist without the wallet, because in the marketplace you're going to be dealing with everything, ranging from investment opportunities, so shares or any kind of token. Utility or security token. You're going to be buying houses, selling your house, buying a car, buying, I don't know, insurance for your car, or any kind of financial product or service you're going to be capable of buying on the marketplace. So you need somewhere to store all that value. And that somewhere has to be the wallet. And the marketplace and the wallet cannot be on different places. They will have to be together. Otherwise, the user experience gets absolutely diminished.
Okay. Now I have a question about the marketplace. If you're talking about cryptocurrencies and about Bitcoin, we're talking really about a global audience. Anybody of all over the world would be potentially interested in such a marketplace.
Mm-hmm.
And so as I see currently the scenario in the financial industry, it's very much split into countries. So I don't see a lot of Portuguese banks offering services, mortgages to Spanish customers, vice versa. So how do you see that? Do you see that it's going to be a truly globalized marketplace, or do you see it's going to be several countries that will have their own providers and customers?
So I would say that there are two drivers here. One is the legal driver, the legal aspects of any financial company offering financial services. We have to see how regulation evolves during the next years. For instance, some regulators are already regulating on ICOs. So we have to see how all of this evolves. And this is going to be a very important driver in order to answer your question, that I personally cannot say anything in that regard, because we're still trying to regulate ICOs. So we're far from that point. And the second point is that it is true at the same time, following your example, that Portugal and, for instance, Norway are not at the same moment in terms of blockchain adoption on the economy. So that is going to play also a very important role. But if you ask me how the marketplace is conceived and how we see our marketplace performing, I would say that the marketplace is 100% made to deal on a global ecosystem. I think it would be amazing if we can put financial suppliers competing against, Italian financial suppliers, and there is no problem with that. Of course, you always make your products according to the specific needs of a very specific segment. But that's great about blockchain. That's one of the great things, and I don't think that is a problem. That is actually an advantage that we have to, take the opportunity. So that's how I say it.
Yeah, I actually agree. I mean, I've been wondering why it is that if I'm in Germany and I'm talking to a financial advisor, he's only able to offer me German insurance coverage from German providers, even though all the providers within the EU have to provide health insurance for every country. So every kind of health insurance coverage has to be for every country of the EU. So potentially I could buy a health insurance provider in Spain, in Hungary, or anywhere else in the EU, and it would have to cover me anywhere in the EU. But so it would be great if in the future I would be able to go access global providers from anywhere I am.
That's it. I think that not doing this is against the client, because at the end you cannot take advantage as a company of economies of scale. So as a company, I think it's better if your services can be offered anywhere. And of course, again, that's going to make suppliers think again of how products and services are built. Do you really need an international assistance insurance, or do you just need a medical insurance that covers you everywhere you are? So that's the difference.
Okay, so we discussed the team, the product, the company. So specifically about the ICO. The ICO is coming up. When is the ICO starting, and how much money do you hope to raise with the ICO?
Yes. If you agree, I would like to explain something before that.
Okay, sure.
I think
Go ahead.
the problem with utility ICOs that I see is that much people see utility tokens ICO as a way to fund your company, and that's the problem. When you want to distribute tokens throughout the community, you have three ways to do that: proof of work, adding value to the community by, for instance, fixing a book, or via ICO. Because on our marketplace, we need to transact all operations with just one token, which is our token, our utility token, the PayPro token. It's PYP. That's the three letters that we use to identify it. We're using the ICO as a way to distribute our token because we don't have miners, and our reward program is not so much powerful in order to distribute all of them. So that's why we're doing an ICO indeed. So our ICO is going to start answering to your question. Sorry for this first introduction. It's going to start on January the 8th, and it's going to finish on February the 4th. So pre-sale starts on January 8th until January 15th, and main sale goes from January 15th to February 4th. And we're giving a 35% bonus for those investors who enter into the pre-sale with a minimum investment of 15 ethers.
Okay. So people can invest with ethers.
Yes, 15 ethers minimum investment on the pre-sale, and 0.0 ethers is a minimum investment on the main sale.
Okay. And you said how much money do you hope to raise?
Yeah, sorry, I didn't say that. 20,000 ethers.
Okay, and that would be currently worth how much money in let's say dollars or euros?
So it depends on when the viewers watch the this conversation, but right now it's around $9 million.
Okay.
But as you know, there's much volatility.
Okay. That's a good amount of money. So how do you plan to spend that money, and over what time frame?
So we have a 5-year economic plan. And the thing is that our structural costs are going to be very low because we rely a lot on our community in order to develop the technology. So whereas it is true that we're going to be needing a good technical team, a core team that leads the community towards where we want to go, we're going to be relying a lot on external developers working on PayPro, on PayPro's platform. And in order to reward them, we're going to be issuing again tokens from PayPro. So that's why our bond rate is a little bit low in comparison to other players in the arena. So I would say that 60% of the funding is going to be used for development, and 40% on marketing and promotion.